Hi, my name is Diana Iakosavis, and I'm sitting here with retired OPP Officer Cam Woolley and Managing Partner of Diamond & Diamond Lawyers, Sandra Ziskind. And today we're talking about airbag safety, the usefulness of airbags, and what to do in the event of an incident involving an airbag.
One of the things this is my pet peeve, because people put
One of many?
I have many pet peeves, as you know. Diana's worked with me for many years.
Didn't know you had an airbag one.
Yes, I have many pet peeves. One of my big pet peeves with the airbags is people think, when we say don't put the kids in the front seat, and a lot of people don't realize it's specifically because of the airbag. It's not for any other reason, because airbags for people that are smaller, thinner, tinier, like little human beings, like children, if the airbag goes off in the front seat, it will snap their neck and kill them. And people don't know this. And there's oftentimes I've told even members of my family, I said, no, we're not doing this because it's just being silly or whatever. The airbag actually, and Cam, you can speak to it better than I can, the airbag with the velocity and with the strength, if you are a small person, will snap your neck.
Yeah, it can create serious or fatal injuries, and especially with small statured or especially fragile people. There's certain medical conditions, and that what they've done though to mitigate that is the modern systems, although you still shouldn't put kids there, sense the weight.
Right.
And then it will determine how much airbag force, or it may shut it off completely. You may notice when you're driving a newer car and there's nothing in the front seat, it will show the airbag is turned off.
So I have that sometimes too in my car. It will say airbag turned off because there's nothing there, and it will just sort of go on to, it will sense it.
If it's a we'll just call it a middle-aged car, maybe
Right.
a 10-year-old one, especially things like pickup trucks or sports cars, they often have a switch. Some of them you need to put the key in to turn the airbag off, and it's kind of and the problem is people would forget. But it is.
My old car did that. If I had too much baggage in the passenger seat, the seatbelt alarm wouldn't stop ringing off. So I'd have to take it off the seat because it would sense the weight, I guess, of the baggage that I had, which was like clothes or lunch bags or this or that, and I would throw it on there, and then that seatbelt,
Or some people would just
wouldn't stop.
pull the
Some people pull
seatbelt
the
on.
seatbelt. Yeah. Sometimes I'd be like, forget it, just pull it on.
Well, what's interesting too is airbags don't always deploy in every crash,
Right.
and they're now the modules. Remember, there's bags all around. First, I get people complaining or asking me about this a lot here. Well, with diamonds as well as when I was a copper, they get rear-ended. No, airbag didn't work.
Right.
It's not supposed to.
It's not supposed to work, right.
But if it's frontal or side with the newer cars with the side airbags, if there's a side impact, it will. But what they do now is there are sensors in each seat.
Right.
So they know how many occupants, and that's one of the things that some of these infotainment systems will carry. They'll know how many people were in it, which doors opened and closed, whether
Right.
the lights were on, a lot of interesting information. But
Wait,
if the airbag...
if I get like really hit from behind,
Well,
only
come on.
if I rear end the person in front of me.
Yes.
is the airbag
Now, if you get smacked into the car in front, it's probably going to get you. But if it just rear ends you, no. Because the idea too is they want you to be able to see and steer.
Okay, so note to self. You know those people that sit like.
Oh,
if
that's the
it's an
problem.
older car, I remember one of the York University professor, a dear little lady.
Yes, I was in
Remember
York,
her?
yes, and she passed away from the same
She was
thing.
killed. She was driving
She was
a
killed.
Honda.
Yes.
And she was small statured, and she sat close to the wheel.
Right. She was very petite, and
Like me.
Yeah, like all of us. and she was sitting close to the wheel, and unfortunately, because of the impact of the airbag, it
was a
broke her
minor
neck.
crash. She was
Yeah.
in a minor collision, and
Yes.
it deployed right into her chest. And what happens, it always isn't just breaking the neck.
Yeah.
What happens is it's acceleration or deceleration that'll often kill
Right.
people. As part of my police duty, I had to go and photograph the autopsy after
Right.
the fatality, and they would show us, the pathologist would explain, and you would see, disconnected aortas and other
Right. I don't actually remember if her neck was broken or if
But
it
it
was
was
just, I should
the
clarify.
sudden acceleration.
But the sudden acceleration,
But that was
that's
an-
what
that
killed
was,
her. A very
I think
beloved York University professor.
Yeah, and that was the late 80s, early 90s car,
remember.
and that was when the airbags were either on or they're off,
Right.
and they only were at full
Are they
power.
better for us or worse? Like, I was just
Well,
like,
they're
In that
better
case, it was
or-
worse.
Yeah, in that case, so it's a
It was a
case by
minor
case.
crash. It was.
Yes.
She
Is it-
shouldn't have even had whiplash in that.
Correct.
crash.
It
was
should have been a nothing thing.
Yeah.
It was a very freak accident. It doesn't happen often. In general, airbags are good because they will save a lot. They will save your life. But there are times when, unfortunately, they also do the opposite. But I would say they save more often than
It's sort of
they
like the
hurt.
seatbelt argument where the guy
Correct.
says, well, if I get hit and it catches on fire, there are a few cases where it either doesn't matter, but that you're done anyway.
Correct.
Or if you were thrown clear this one time, maybe you would have
Yeah.
made it. But
Yeah.
there is a medical exemption, and it's fairly
a
narrow.
seatbelt?
Yeah, well, for airbags. You can have
okay.
airbags deleted. There's a program through Transport Canada. So if somebody was particularly fragile,
like myself again.
that could happen. You can get it done.
The key is airbags are there for safety reasons, and they're there just like any car. If we're going with the manufacturer suggested use of the car, most of the time you're going to be fine, you're going to be safe. Whether it's riding with kids, riding with elderly people, you need to know your car, you need to know who it is, what it is, and you need to be aware of all of these things. And I think sometimes that's why I'm saying that the airbag thing is my pet peeve, because, I've had people say, I put your kid in the front seat, and I said, no, like I
It's all about
freaked
age
out about it.
12, but it depends on the size of the
Depends on the
kid,
size
too.
of the kid. And I have a daughter who's really tiny, and she's still in the back, and she's always asked me when she can go in the front. And I said, no, because she's too small, and I just don't need the risk. So if you don't need it and you have the back seat, might as well put them in the back seat for as long as possible until they're basically like an adult. Like my son now is 5'6". He's already like an adult. He's 14, I let him ride in the front. But until they're sort of that stature, you kind of want to keep them in the back and keep them safe. And it all comes down to a safety issue. People don't know, and they think, they do what's convenient, but airbags are really there. In essence, don't be freaked out by it. They're really there to protect you. They really are.
We should add a point to this, though, and a lot of people, I remember when they were talking about airbags back in the day, and it's a long, long time ago. The original thought was it was because Americans were too lazy to wear their seatbelts was one of the thoughts behind
Right.
it. But that being said, a huge caution here. If you get into a car without airbags and you're not wearing your seatbelt, you're asking for big trouble.
Correct.
Or you wear the seatbelt. I see some people
Put it under.
Here and
Well, let's wrap this one up with airbags. But
Airbags.
Airbag,
They're
well,
good
that's
for you.
the big thing to remember, though, is you got to wear your seatbelt properly, or the airbag and lack of seatbelt
Right.
is actually even worse.
Correct. You don't want to have just airbags and no seatbelts.
Because you get thrown into it and then you're thrown back.
Right, airbags, correct.